You know, I saw a lot of people that were kind of down on the first two episodes of Ahsoka, and I mean, look, they weren't perfect, but they were not bad. And I'm not understanding what people are expecting. But look, here's the thing: we're moving on. We're moving on with episode three. Time to fly. We're going to be talking about it right now. Now, of course, I need to mention this going forward. There will be spoilers, light spoilers. I'm not going to, go crazy here. And if I do, I'll warn you. But this episode didn't really warrant that kind of problem. But here's the thing. I am going to be talking about things that happen in the episode. So if you haven't seen it yet and you want to, maybe you ought to watch the episode first. So the episode starts out with basically a training sequence where Sabine is training with Hu Yang. I always want to say it differently. But anyway, Hu Yang. And it's kind of interesting. And then Ahsoka says, "Hey, put on this helmet and I'll teach you some things." And it is very reminiscent of the, oh, with the blast shield down, I can't see. How am I supposed to fight? Blah, blah, blah. Same concept. And, she basically, Ahsoka, gets the upper hand, of course, because, Sabine can't see. But it is interesting to see that training montage. It's not even a montage, it's a scene. To see this training scene go down and, a little bit of talk about the Force and that, she's not exactly gifted, but here's the thing. Everybody's got the Force in them. So, make do with what you got. And there's this scene of Sabine trying to get this cup to move on the table, like I've tried to do a million times as a kid and maybe as an adult. But anyway, it was kind of a cool scene. Then we finally get to see the scene of Hera talking to senators. And you've got Chancellor Mon Mothma in the middle. And to her left, which is screen right, is Senator Xiono, which is Kaz Xiono's dad, from Star Wars Resistance. I know a lot of people probably never watched that show. But this is Kaz's dad. So immediately I'm like, oh my God, is that him? And I had to look it up real fast. And yeah, it's him. So it's kind of a cool little, tie into the rest of the animated, universe, I guess, that they've built. But the scene itself is Hera basically saying Thrawn is a threat. And if people are trying to get back to Thrawn, this is something to worry about. And the senators are like, no, that's not a thing. We don't, there is no threat here. It's kind of an interesting little scene, and Hera shows off a little bit of spunk that I really, really like. Since Hera is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I'm automatically on her side. I mean, and plus it's Hera, because Hera's awesome. So yeah, I was into it, but to see her almost lose her cool because Xiono is kind of like, acting like it's not a big deal and this is peacetime and all that stuff, and Hera says, did you fight in the war? No? Okay, well, and it was just like, I was tense. So it was kind of a cool scene. And then after that, she goes out to the hallway and is met by Jason, which is her son, along, with Freddie Prinze Jr. What's his name? I'm going blank on his name. Kanan. Kanan is his name. Yeah. So it was kind of a cool little scene, and it actually, this is the first time, so far where I've actually gotten almost the welling of tears, because it was like, oh man, Kanan, because he says something like, I want to be a Jedi, and it was like, that's just a cool scene. I mean, and if you're a fan of Rebels, then that's gonna touch you a little bit. I mean, it has to, but if you never watched Rebels, well then that's just a thing, and you're like, okay, let's move on. Now we're back on Ahsoka's ship, and Ahsoka and Sabine are on their way to Cetos. Basically, they're tracking the ship, right? So yeah, we get to see a space battle, and I gotta say, it's the first time that we've seen a space battle of this quality in a very, very long time. I'm seriously having a hard time remembering the last time we had a space battle this good. Like, I think it's better than anything in The Mandalorian. That's my opinion. It looked great, and the whole sequence goes from outer space into the atmosphere of the planet, it was great. And we get to see Purrgil, for the first time in live action. I mean, like, actually see it. Pretty cool to see that. It's gonna be interesting how much of that is gonna be in the series, but it's Dave Filoni and he loves the Purrgil, apparently, so it's gonna be there. But it was cool to see that. I will say that I'm not a huge fan of the blaster sounds from the ships. I'm not. I mean, it's a small little thing, but I'm just not a huge fan of that sound. I think they need to have a little more oomph to them. They sounded almost like pea shooters to me, so it was kind of weird. But Ahsoka and Sabine land on the planet, and you see Ray Stevenson's character sitting there, and it's basically saying, "Okay, they're hiding in the forest. Let's hunt them down." And then the credits roll, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, this was a short episode." So look, there's not a whole lot to get really excited about or complain about with this episode. I mean, I enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed this. It felt more at home, I guess. I don't know. It felt like a breeze, which is a good thing. There were moments of the previous two episodes that felt like they had some slow moments or whatever. Here, it feels like we're on the road and we're moving, and I like that. I like the way that this episode felt. I think it was great. And again, Kevin Kiner's music, I'm telling you, I just really, really like that. So I'm very, very pleased about that. So yeah, I mean, that's about all there is for episode 3, Time to Fly. I'm curious if you've seen it. What did you think of it? What are your thoughts concerning the series so far? Let's talk about it down in the comment section below. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.